stampers, it's Judy Klock here at Stampin' with Crafty Klock, coming to you today from my studio for a quick little demo of the new Kite Delight stamp set. And I'm trying to fix the lighting so it doesn't seem so dark on my workstation. I got a new phone holder and it seems like it's darker than it needs to be. Give me a second. Let's see if we can get some more light. I think it's still kind of dark, but we'll see. We'll see what we can do. We'll see if we can get some more light on here so it's not quite so dark. Bear with me 1 minute. I don't know. I think I'm making it worse. I'll just leave it for now. We'll figure this out. Hey, Patricia, how are you today? All right. So today I wanted to show you some pretty cards with the cute little Kite Delight stamp set. And this is one of the bonus extra classes that I'm offering with my spring creative escape, where we'll be working with the Flowering Field Suite. And you can add on one of these. There's two classes you can add on. One's going to be Kite Delight and the other is going to be Rainbow of Happiness. So let's go ahead and show you the cards we're going to work with. Again, I try to do something that's a little bit simple and then something a little bit more involved. So for our simple stamping card, we're just going to keep it really basic. We're just going to stamp our kites. I am coloring them in with our Stampin' blends, but you can use your regular markers if you want, and just a little punch. So there's really not a lot to this card, but look at how cute that inside is when you add the clouds and the sun. Just really kind of makes that inside really kind of bring a smile to everybody's face. And then the next card that we're going to do is going to be a birthday card. And I'm using the Sunshine and Rainbows Designer Series paper. This is a free with $50 purchase for celebration, which ends on February 28th. So if you want this paper, you have to hurry and get it. It's got about another week and a couple of days. But again, just a really pretty little simple card to do. And we've added some die cuts and some embellishments, and we're going to get started. So let's go ahead and get started with our simple stamping. Now this is Balmy Blue. It is 8.25 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And to that, I'm going to add a piece of our basic white on the inside, but we're going to stamp it. We're going to jazz this up just a little bit. So I took some Balmy Blue and we're going to stamp a couple of those cute little clouds. Just going to stamp these here. Just stamp them wherever you want. And then I'm going to take some Daffodil Delight. And I'm going to stamp that pretty little sun kind of right in between the two. And there we have it. And I always like to say stamp, then stick, because now that we've stamped it and we don't have a mistake, we can go ahead and add that to the inside of our card. So let me just move this out. And I'm using the Stampin' Pierce mat because, again, these are photopolymer stamps, and I like to have that little bit of extra cushion. I just loaded a new refill in there, so it's taking a minute to come up. But I'm so excited. We have our class tomorrow night, our Ladybug class, with all the mechanical pieces that are going to go with all mechanical cards. So there's the inside. Now, I added an extra piece of Balmy Blue. You don't have to do this. I just thought the card needed just an extra layer. But I also wanted to stamp, if you'll notice here, I stamped the strings on that blue layer. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stamp those here. We're going to use our Memento Tuxedo Black, okay? And we're going to stamp these like one here, okay? And then I'm going to stamp the other one kind of here. I don't think that's enough ink on there. Can I bring that up? There we go. All right, let's see how we do with that. If it doesn't work out, we can always flip it over. Now, I do want to put this here. Okay, so now I am going to have to stamp this over my other piece. Actually, you know what? I'm going to flip this over. I think I'm going to put my yellow piece down first. And I don't want to stamp on the blue yet. So I am going to slip my scrap paper in between. So let me stamp this one first. And you'll see why in a minute. Okay. So now I'm going to stamp this one here. All right. And then I'm going to stamp this one here. All right. Now, I'm going to try to remember where these were. Right? I'm going to put that there. Okay. I probably should have had some, here we go. This is what I'm talking about. I need some of these now. Now I kind of want to get that matched up on my blue, but I don't want to stamp it on my yellow. So I'm going to put that there, but I can sort of still see where my yellow is, where it is underneath my yellow, right? I can sort of still see it. I'm hoping this works because it didn't work so well last time, but I'm going to stamp it like that. Okay. So not too bad, not too shabby. We can sort of match that up. And I'm not going to worry about it because my little sentiment is going to cover up some of that. So I'm not that worried about it. But now I do want to, so let me put this back in the space. All right, this is just taking a little bit longer than I had thought, but maybe this really isn't such a good thing for a beginner stamper, but we're going to make it work. Okay, so I'm going to put that there. All right, now this one we're going to stamp, and we're going to come down here and stamp it here, and a little bit's going to go off, and that's okay. Okay, so that one's not quite as good, but we will make it work. We will make it work. All right, so now we're ready to assemble the front of our card. Let me get all of this silly nonsense out. Because when I stamped it with the yellow piece on there, it didn't stamp right, and I was very unhappy with it, but I'm going to be less happy with it. Let's see there. All right, guys, this is not one of my better efforts, but it's still going to be a cute card. We'll make it work. Oh no, Patricia, I can't believe that. Well, it could be my Wi-Fi here too. It's been sporadic all day, but we'll see. I hope you can catch it later on replay. Now I'm going to stamp on some white that I had. I thought I had a piece of white for my, let me go get a piece of white for my kites. I don't know where it went to. I've got my label here. I'll be right back, folks. Sorry about that. I would have been better prepared today. I thought I was prepared. All right, well, we're going to stamp 2 kites. And these we're just going to fussy cut out. And again, we're going to stamp these in our tuxedo. Minto black tuxedo. Where is my Pierce mat? Here we go. There we go. We're just going to stamp this there. Let me get a little bit more ink on there. We're going to stamp that one, and we're going to stamp that other, this other kind of funky one. It kind of looks like a rocket ship almost. All right. And we're going to stamp that there. Okay. All right. Let me move that out of the way. Now, these are pretty easy. You know, I don't really like to do a lot of fussy cutting, but I got to say, these are pretty easy because they're just really straight lines. So really, I don't really consider this fussy cutting. I'm just cutting out 4 straight lines. So even I can't screw this up too badly. So we got that one. And then we're just going to have some fun with our Stampin' blends. And we're going to color these. All right. Ooh, this is probably the hardest part, is this little tiny curved part of this kite. But even so, it's not as bad as a lot of other fussy cutting. These I could cut out. See? All right. So I've got here, I've got Daffodil Delight, the light Daffodil Delight, the light Balmy Blue, and the light Flirty Flamingo. And I'm just going to start coloring. I'm just going to color my little centers here, and this will go pretty quickly. It doesn't really take that long to color these in. So go ahead and sit back, grab a beverage of choice. I really should have brought down some water, but I forgot. So hopefully I'll be upstairs before too long. And everybody have a nice 3-day weekend coming up, I hope. I'm going to have some of my team members come over. We're going to have like a little crafting afternoon, little lunch and a little crafting afternoon with the Crafty Foxes. So I'm pretty excited about that. We haven't seen each other in a couple of months. So it's always good to get together with the team and just have some laughs and have a good time. Okay. Hey, Maureen, how are you tonight? And then we're just going to add some balmy blue. We're going to pick up, so we're just kind of picking up all the colors in our cardstock, and we're just adding that pop of petal pink because I just thought it needed another little color. But I thought these kind of worked well together. I think they're subtle enough. They're not, you know, sometimes like I tried the Magenta Madness, and you'll see that on my other card. I used the Magenta Madness at first, and I'm not really too thrilled. But once you put the color down once, you're kind of committed, so you got to follow through with it. All right, so let's go here. Let's color these stripes. We'll color these in the balmy blue. Just get that there. Ooh. There we go. It does go pretty quickly when you're coloring with these. So is everybody ready for spring? I know I am. I'm sort of over the whole winter and snow and cold, and I'm done with it. I'm ready. I know we've got a couple more weeks, but what, in about a month it'll officially be spring. So that's kind of exciting. Some warm weather will be coming up. The only thing I hate about spring, I mean, I don't hate it, but my backyard gets so muddy, and with the dogs, and I have like muddy paw prints everywhere. But you know what? That's really not a bad problem to have. So, because I wouldn't trade my puppies for anything most days. Some days they're on my very last nerve, but I still love them. They're so funny. I know exactly when we're getting a delivery because they lose it. They just go totally bonkers, whether it's UPS or FedEx and the mailman. So right now, so we live next to a big cornfield, and obviously they took the corn down, and when they took the corn down, they left some of the corn husks and everything in the field. Well, now it's really windy, so the corn husks are blowing like all over the place, and there's like a stack of these like corn husks just in the backyard, and the dogs are going crazy for them. Every time I take them outside, somebody comes back in with like a corn husk sticking out of their mouth. So it's a little crazy. Probably when you live in the country. We never had that problem before. It's an interesting problem to have. But so I don't know. The year before that, they planted soybeans. So I don't know what they'll plant. Maybe they'll plant soybean this spring. And then we got this. I'm just adding some dimensionals here just to pop these up. But I love how these kites, you can color them and really just make them any color you want. I think that's so pretty. I love flying kites. Even now, I don't know. There's something just so simple and fun about it. Just brings back childhood memories, wonderful childhood memories of being down by Davenport Park and just flying kites. I don't know how I want to put this one on. I don't know. Maybe we'll just go like that. I don't know. Put them on however you want. All right. So now we're just going to stamp a little sentiment on here. And I think, what does this one say? This says, your friendship is so uplifting. That was a pretty little card to send to a friend. So we're just going to do that. Put that over there for now. Okay. Let me get a little bit more ink on there. All right. There we go. And again, I'm going to pop that up there with some dimensionals. Oop. And there goes the Leaning Tower of Pisa has now fallen over here. You know, I'm so good. I come down. Hey, Mary, how you doing? Yes, it has been a while. I come down here every so often. I clean it up, and then I get working on projects, and it becomes a mess again. And it's just like a never-ending cycle. Anybody else have that problem where you clean, and then all of a sudden you're just back to kind of square one and it's a mess again. And then we're going to add some of these self-adhesive blue gems. These are Balmy Blue and Night of Navy. So I'm just going to add pop I don't know, 3 of these on here. I like to do things in odd amounts just because everything in nature is an odd amount. Petals are usually an odd number of petals and points and all that stuff. And there's our first one. So it wasn't quite as simple as I had thought because we had that whole masking bit going on. And I still am not really happy with how that turned out. But you know what? It's a handmade card and sometimes that happens. All right, let's take a look at our second card. So we've got our Granny Apple Green here. It is 8.5 by 5.5. We've scored it at 4 1/4. And we're going to do it in our landscape orientation. So I'm going to stamp on the inside because this one is going to be a happy birthday card. So I'm going to stamp a sentiment on the inside. I think it says hope your day is, wishes for a carefree day. Wishes for a carefree day. I knew it was something. All right, we're going to just put that in there. Now, if you wanted to go ahead, you could add another sun. You could add some more kite. You can add kites. You could add clouds. Whatever you want to do. I'm just going to leave it kind of simple on this one. And I just got ink on that. So let me flip that over because I had ink on my nail. It's never a day when I don't end up with ink on my fingers. Did you even craft if you didn't end up with inky fingers? I don't think so. All right, so let's go ahead and add this in. And we'll put that on the inside. Remember, because I had that little mistake, it was a good thing I hadn't stuck this down yet because I was able to flip it over, fix it, and get a clean stamp on the inside until I screw it up again. Now I've got here, again, this is our designer series celebration paper. It's Sunshine and Rainbows, and this is the same piece. I just cut it into 2 inches by 5 1/4, and I'm just going to layer them up like that. And then we're just going to put a piece of Pool Party, because that's one of the other colors in here. We're going to put a piece of Pool Party across the middle, just to kind of hide that seam where these two kind of butt up against each other. And that's just kind of a little trick when you've got two pieces of paper that are kind of butting up against each other. If you cover it with a ribbon or another piece of cardstock or something, it just kind of makes it look a little bit more finished. So I'm going to come here. I just got a piece of Pool Party, and see, it hides that seam and you kind of never really know. So let's go ahead and put this on. Okay. And then I did our layering circles, and I used our largest layering circle, and I just cut one out, and I'm going to stamp one of our kites. Now, on the sample card, I did it in Granny Apple Green, and I decided I don't really like it. So I am going to go back to the Tuxedo Black. I don't know why. Sometimes I try things and, they don't turn out, but then you're sort of committed, so you just kind of roll with it and adjust it for the next one. And I will use Tuxedo Black if I can find Tuxedo Black. There it is. It was off on the side. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and stamp this. And then I am going to go ahead and stamp one of our kite tails. And I think I will use, I'll use the ribbons again. Let me get my other paper here because this is definitely going to hang off of the circle. So I don't want to get it on my Stampin' Pierce mat, so I'm just going to put that there. And I'm going to just stamp that right there. How cute is that? All right, now, again, we're going to use our markers to color this. So this time I've got some Granny Apple Green. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to color our ribbon with our Granny Apple Green. We're just going to pick up, again, the colors in our cardstock. So I'm just going to go ahead and color that. And then I'm going to color this, our kite, in I got Pool Party, and I've got Flirty Flamingo. Again, I had tried the Magenta Madness in my sample, and it was too dark. It was just too much. So I said, okay, we're gonna switch that up for the next card, because it was just really just kind of in your face. It's a very rich color, and I don't really think it worked, but Sometimes you just got to try things. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And I think the Flirty Flamingo works better with the pool party. That's just my 2 cents. But I'll show you them both side by side, and you could let me know what you think. Okay, so we've got our kite, we've got our tail. Now, I like to add a little dab of color to the edges. And if I don't have daubers handy, which I don't, I just take it and I just kind of roll it along my ink pad. And that gives me just a little tiny bit of color, a little bit more up there, whoop, around the edges of my circle. And I just kind of like the way that makes it pop up off the paper. So that's just a little tip. So just because you don't have daubers doesn't mean you can't add a little pop of color to the edge of your die cuts. And it works for squares, it works for ovals, it works for really almost any shape. Just kind of run it through. Okay, that's off. I'm just going to go ahead and put our kite right there. Now I've got a little piece here. We're going to stamp our birthday wishes, and I'm going to do this in our Granny Apple Green. If I can find all my colors. See, this is what happens when you run out of room. This is another year flies by. Happy birthday. Okay. All right, there it is. So we've got that. Let me just close my ink pad. Now, to this, I want to add some of our twine. So I'm going to take our linen, actually it's linen thread. I'm going to take our linen thread and I'm just going to wrap it around. I probably am just going to use all of this. This is kind of the end of my little bolt here. So I'm just going to take that off. And I'm just going to kind of messily attach it to the back of our little sentiment. And then I'm just going to add some dimensionals. And that's all you got to do. There's no rhyme or reason to how that goes on. You just kind of smush it all together. That's a technical term, smush. We're just going to smush it all together and put that on there. And then we've got our little sentiment down there. Another year flies by. Happy birthday. We've got our inside sentiment that says wishes for a carefree day. And I always think that whenever I'm outside flying kites, I usually see butterflies. So we're just going to add a couple of butterflies here to fly along with our kite. And that is it. Now let me show you the difference and you can see. See, I did this one in the Granny Apple Green kite with the Magenta Madness. And I just think that's too deep. So I changed this one up and I did the black with the Flirty Flamingo. I'm sorry, the pool party. Yes, the pool party and the Flirty Flamingo. I think this combo works better, but let me know what you think. And let me see which combo you like better. So that is it for tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. I will see you all next week. Have a great weekend. Enjoy if you have a 3-day weekend, enjoy it all. Bye, everyone.